Hi, welcome to MediaByte. Personally, I absolutely loved Shazam, specifically because of how different it felt in comparison to a lot of films of the superhero genre. It was so different that it absolutely stood out compared to the many other superhero movies that came out along that time. Well, if you want to, you can follow us on Twitter at MediaByteCo and Instagram is at MediaByteCompany, and with that, let's get started. The movie stars all the adults from the end of the first movie and revolves around the heroes. This is the official premise of the film. Teenager Billy Batson and his foster siblings who transform into adult superheroes by saying Shazam for the Daughters of Atlas. This doesn't seem like the exact type of sequel the movie should have had, especially with how the movie ended. The director before the first Shazam has done Lights Out, which is super good. I'm not gonna lie to you, you should definitely check it out. He also directed Annabelle Creation, which I like less, and then it was Shazam. So honestly, all those being in its first 4 movies are not bad at all. The movie is written by Henry Gayden and Chris Morgan. Henry wrote a movie called Earth to Echo and There Is Someone Inside Your House. And that is about the only 2 screenplays by credit worth noting before Shazam. Chris Morgan, on the other hand, has some writing credits on his hand, having directed or written movies like The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, Fast 5, Fast and Furious 6, 47 Ronin, Furious 7, The Fate of the Furious, Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. However, I am honestly slightly nervous about this because I think there's a heavy possibility that they don't understand what exactly made the first movie so good in the first place. And then now we get stuck with a movie that is almost what we wanted in the first place, but then it isn't, and then it's honestly what I'm worried about, because if they go too funny and completely ruining the in-flight realism that they had in the first movie, we aren't going to care as much, because there's a fine line between caring about what the universe rules have been set up as, and they can mess it up really easily. They can mess it up also by creating a movie that is entirely a comedy and not at all a superhero movie, which, again, trust me, can happen a lot easier than you think it can. There's a super fine line you have to be able to stay between, and it requires a lot of skillful writing. They got it right the last time with Shazam, so they should be able to do kind of this time, as long as they stay true to what got the first Shazam so popular in the first place, which, of course, was the perfect placement of the film between comedy and superhero movies. There is a Black Adam movie coming out too, which if you don't know is Shazam's supervillain. However, this movie, they told us, is not connected to this movie, and Black Adam isn't connected to Shazam in any way, shape, or form, which I think is super interesting to have a movie that is about the supervillain of a superhero from a different movie coming out so incredibly soon to Black Adam. It's just such a confusing thing to me that I just don't believe that it's completely true, to be completely honest with you. Well, that's it. If you want to stay up to date with all things Shazam, you can follow us on Twitter at MediaByteCo and Instagram is at MediaByteCompany. Listen to all of the podcasts on the MediaByte Podcast Network. We work hard on every single podcast that comes out. Check out our Patreon. We try to post behind the scenes commentaries for movies, ad-free podcast episodes on the Patreon account. I don't worry too much about, none of the money is going to be made for profit. All of it will be made and just fall straight back into MediaByte and getting all the stuff that we need to make this better microphones, better services, better things like that can help us make MediaByte better as a whole. And so that's all that the Patreon money would be made for. So thank you for that. If you ever consider doing that, thank you for watching in general. Thank you for everything. And we will see you all in the next one. Peace.